All right, so like I said, I want to make just a little notch here to where we can make our lid for our container open and close, but have this little latch part. And all this is some kind of a little arm that extends down from the top to the bottom, just goes past the middle line here. And let me switch to auto color mode so you can see a little more clearly. And there's a little recess now for the bottom that is absolutely just using whatever intersects with the top from the top to the bottom and just cutting that. So this is literally the sketch for this is a oh, what just happened? Oh, right. The sketch for this is literally just a curved line that extends from the top to the bottom and a circle. Not much. Look at examples to get better ideas, but realistically, that's all this is. So let's throw something on for the example like this, my Oreo case. Something circle or a square on a circle. I want something that keeps my Oreos closed, but also keeps them contained, but also keeps them closed. So you can start a new sketch, whatever you want. Now this already has all the objects in their individual components. My Oreo container has the lid, the base, and in this case I was using a pin, but whatever. So I want to make a latch on this. So I'm going to activate the whole project all the way at the top of my project tree. And I'm going to start a new sketch on the normal, if everything is hard to get at, temporarily hide everything from the side. So XZ. I again, as usual, want to borrow the top and bottom as bodies. So I'm going to go to create, project, or just press P on your keyboard. Select on the toolbox, select by bodies. I want the top. Now this has all this texture, so it might get a little screwy, but oh good if it doesn't. Select the bottom, hit OK. So now when I hide those, I have my shared profiles. Basically, a very similar way we did the latches. I'm going to unhide this in a minute, but really I just want some kind of a circle down here and an arm that connects those. However you want to approach that's up to you. Sometimes I like just using a rectangle tool because if I snap there and I draw outward, that's essentially going to give me what will be my outer arm, and that'll be my base. You can just draw a line tool if you want. It does not matter. Length, I don't know. It doesn't need to be overly too far, so I don't know. Let's make it an even number. Sure, 2. And let's make it far enough out to where it seems reasonable. I don't know, 0.75. All right, cool. So that's what's going to be basically part of my arm. In this case, I'm going to use the offset tool. Oops, I don't want everything. So deselect the chain selection. Stop it. I just want that line and that line. So this is where you could totally have just made this a single line, whatever. I don't know, negative 0.5? That might be a bit too much. We'll see. Hit OK. I'm just literally making some kind of a box here, a closed sketch that will be off of the lid, and it goes from the lid and traverses down to the bottom. That's literally it. And I don't know, let's draw a circle. I'll use a center point circle and start on this line here. Where? I don't know, wherever seems reasonable. I just need it to extend a little bit into the bottom profile. So I don't know, 0.6 seems a little bit too small. Maybe about 2.5? Sure. So that's pretty much it. I just want a little bit. See how this circle now extends into the base? That's what I want, just a little tiny bit. And again, this is not based off of any kind of design criteria or like ways to design a latch. This is just, yeah, I know what a latch looks like. It's kind of got a little nub that goes, a little nub on an arm that extends past. Great. Now I'm going to leave the rest of this piece here because I want to use that as like a little thumb catch so it's easier to hold on to. But that's pretty much it. We can add curves and fillets and things later, but right now I just kind of want to draw it as that. Okay. I'm going to unhide my project. And this is part of the lid, so let's activate the lid component, just like we did for the hinge. I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to select that arm I made, and all 3 parts of the circle, because that's what that happened. I want this to go on both sides, so I'll choose symmetric and just drag it outward to some degree. Now it's selecting new body. If I hit join, it might join everything. So I might want to make sure to hide what is my base. So yeah, I don't know. That looks about right. Just kind of a little section. Doesn't need to be extensive. If I want to make it larger, there we go. Totally up to you. Somewhere in there. Sure, why not? If I hit join, it's going to join. Now, one problem with this is obviously this is a flat thing on a circle. So I need to make sure to extend this line here. Whoa, sorry. So all that means is, see how there's this gap that forms? So I just need to make sure to extend that surface into my lid. So I'll just use extrude and just drag it inward. The computer is going very slowly right now. One seems one excessive, and also it's trying to cut. So I do not want that. Operation join. Let me make sure it's not cutting into the wall of my object. Nope, we're good. There you go. So some sort of kind of latch. Neat. Now, if you want to add any curvatures or fillets or anything, now is a good time. Let's add a fillet, both because it'll look better, and also remember that if these are being printed, a square 90-degree angle is much weaker than a curved angle. So I want to select these outer edges, in this case, first, because I just kind of want to make a little bit of a curvy bit to it. Let's see if it goes too far. Oops, looks like I did not select one of the sides. Make sure I get that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Weird, I'm getting odd results. I don't know why that side's not joining. Maybe it didn't join properly. Oh, I didn't select. Oh, it accidentally split that. That's why. So let me go back in, and it looks like it didn't select that whole face. That's super weird. Yeah. Strange. It's only moving part of my extrude. That's really odd. Let's see here. Hold on a second. So what I'm going to do is, oh, I just need you to get out of my way. Let's see here. Oops. All right. So what I'm having to do here is, what happened is, let me temporarily hide the lid there. Looks like when I did the extrude originally, let's do this as a new body instead. There we go. So what happened is when I extruded this face over, it didn't join properly. Getting some weird results here. Ah, I see. Okay, okay. Getting some really funky results. So what happened is that last extrude just kind of did some weird stuff, so I'm just going to delete it. Good. So now my little tab and my top are separate. This is all just because I'm running into this additional issue because I'm trying to make a flat thing on a round thing. That's all. All right, so I deleted that last extrude because that was where the problem was. I just need to select this face and drag it in, like one was too much, so 0.5. Okay. There we go. So now I just got my just this little notch. That's all. The problem was that curve wasn't extending properly. That's all. So now I'm going to join that whole thing together. So that one to that one body, good. All right. So my problem was I was just trying to add a fillet to this corner here. And because it didn't fully connect when I did that before, I was getting a very weird result. Okay. Type in like 0.5. Cool. There we go. So it just adds a little bit of a curvature. That's all. Whoa, what happened down there? Oh, that was just how it was being visualized. What? Why did that somehow get it added? For some reason, that is extending downward. Just trying to make this little part curvy. There we go. All right. I guess that fillet was extending down by a little notch. All right, fine. We're going to call that good enough because we're going to run into problems there. Anyway, so I was just trying to add a little bit of a fillet there to that so it'd be a stronger connection. That's all. Okay, that was excessive. So ultimately, the last thing I want to do here, or need to do, is just add a cut into the bottom using the top. Now, because again, this is a curved body, I am going to run into trouble because it's curved. So what'll happen is, combine, I want the cut to appear on the bottom and use the top as my cutting tool. I'm going to cut, and I want to keep my tools. That's extremely important because if I don't, the whole top will disappear. Hit OK, and you'll see that the problem here is because that's a curve, it makes just the tiniest little notch here. So ideally, you might need to make that little circle a little bit larger in your sketch. So if that just means if I go back in to that original sketch for my hinge, and let's just make that circle, I don't know. No, not 75. Way too big. 0.75. So I'm just made that a little bit larger. So see how the circle now extends a little bit further in. That'll recalculate everything. Now it's a little bit larger of a notch. And that's it. There you go. So now I just have my little curvature. I have my lid and a little cutout notch in here. So this is essentially the exact same thing that this has with this little notch, just built onto a curved surface. That's really it. Now, ideally, if we turn on section analysis and look at this from the side, the idea here is when I open and close the lid, I would just have a little bit of intersect, of overlap, to where ideally this little latch arm would just let the plastic flex. So that's just what we're going with. Again, this would be a trial and error issue if you were to print this. Realistically, if you went to print this, I would absolutely recommend putting a fillet on the inside here. So like that corner right there. And while we're at it, might as well add that corner. Because if you don't, let's try 0.25. Why does it keep trying to add it to the outside? That is not what I'm wanting. I just want that inside corner. There we go. It's just too big. So if you don't add curvatures, again, sharp corners make for weaker points. Probably ideally actually make both of those corners. Nope. This is where this part all gets tedious. I don't know, 0.1, something like that. So if that were now both have curves, and it'll make for a stronger connection. So there you go. Just a little notch. We had to add a couple of extra steps because it's on a curved object. So all we had to do is just make a couple of extensions, but basically it's extremely similar to how we made the hinge. Activate the whole project, a sketch between those, use project to borrow both the top and the bottom profile, and then model some sort of a little arm that extends from the top to the bottom. So now, ideally, my Oreo container would in fact stay latch closed and keep my Oreos safe. So that's pretty much what we're going with. Just a little tiny tab, some kind of a little notch. You could absolutely turn this into like a little thumb catch or something if you wanted to. I would say the best thing is look at some containers, see how their little simple latches can work. And that's pretty much all we're going with. Just some sort of semblance of what you're working from. And there you go. So try it out. Good luck with that. Basically works very similar to how we modeled the hinge, not how we added the joint or anything.
For